So how do you hire your very first teacher to come work for you at your music teaching studio? Where the heck do you start? Well, that's what we're going to cover today, and we're going to go through 10 steps that you need on your checklist to make sure that you are in the zone, ready to hire someone to do a great job and have them do a great job for you. My name's Jonny Wilson. I run Build a Music School. I built my own music school from 0 to 2,000 students a week and had a team of almost 60 people working for me every week, and I've had to hire hundreds of people over the years and even fire a couple as well. So I'm going to talk to you about 10 things. I've got them all written down here. We're going to go through them that you need to know right after this. All right, well, there's a lot to get through when we're talking about hiring someone, so we're going to go quite fast. But what I do want you to know up front is if you would like access to all of my resources and trainings on how to hire people and build a real amazing rock star team around you, then you can grab free 7-day access to our Build a Music School program. There's tens of thousands of dollars worth of resources in there and incredible other things that are going to help you in your journey, no matter where you are, whether you're a solo teacher, small, medium, or large music school owner. So get stuck in, check that out. There'll be a link down below. But let's get straight into these 10 points. So the first thing that we need to know when we are hiring someone, let me get right in the camera there, is we need a budget for it. So one of the things that we do when we are hiring someone is we need to make sure that we can actually afford to have them on the team. So we need to budget it out. We have a tool that you can find in Module 2 in that free trial called the Cash Flow Challenge, and it actually has built within it what we call a feasibility study. So it's going to show you punch all your basic numbers in, and then you say, hey, I want to hire this person, and this is how many hours they're going to do, this is how much I'm going to pay them, and it'll show you exactly what's going to happen to your cash flow, the money in your bank account, and it's going to show you whether you can afford to hire them or whether you can't. So obviously that's a first step that you want to figure out. Can you afford to hire someone? So that's really important. Make sure you do the detailed analysis of that. Number 2, vision and values. One thing that you want to do, you're bringing someone into your business. Not only do they want to know that's secure, you can actually pay them, they kind of want to know what's the vision, what's the plan. When you have a compelling vision, then people really get behind it. They get excited about it, and you have to keep reminding people why you're doing stuff. Why are you there? You're not just there to teach a lesson, go home and forget about it. You're actually building something. You're sowing into young people's lives, and it should be something that everyone who works there is exciting about. But you need to articulate to anyone that you hire, what's the vision here? What are we doing? Are we trying to just build some jobs? Are we trying to build the best music school on the planet? Are we trying to build into a second location? Are we trying to get our first little commercial location? Are we trying to build the most unique, high-end, high-performance music school around? Or are we trying to build the coolest community? It can be totally your unique vision, but communicate. What are you doing? And then people can get excited about that and feel part of something. The next part of that vision is values. So I said vision and values. It's important to note that if you've got to the point where you've got a waiting list or there's too many people for you to teach on your own, you're obviously doing something right. Okay, so people are drawn to you because you're probably a great teacher, but not only that, you've probably got a great personality, you've got a great method in how you teach, you care about the curriculum, you care about, techniques, student experiences, all that stuff that makes you a great person and has given you the opportunity to hire your first teacher and grow. So this here is something that you want to try and almost bottle and package and figure out what are the values that made you such a great teacher in the first place. So think it through, and that's the sort of stuff you want to communicate to the person that you hire, and also have as kind of your checklist of who you are hiring. So say at my school, and this is just my school, doesn't have to be yours, we're really passionate about like really great role models and people that were just like, they really cared about the student, and it was just as much about development of a young person as well as the musical side. So we're looking for people that were not only really great musicians and really fun and cool, but they really cared about young people and their development. So one question that I would often ask people, this is how it ties into values, is in the interview, hey, tell me about a mentor that you've had in your life that impacted your life and how. And I'm listening to see, have you had someone that's been a great mentor? Has it been a sports coach, a youth pastor, a scouts leader, a Girl Guides leader, a teacher? And you're listening to see, do they recognize what a good role model is, and can they be one themselves? So that's just one example of a value that we decided was important. We write it down on our list. And you can actually see our values list in the library when you grab a trial, so you can go check that out, see what ours were, and you can write your own. So let's keep moving, but vision and values is something that you want to think about carefully as well. Next is a contract. So there's a bunch of what we call HR documents, human resource documents. This is where you get to the kind of the boring nitty-gritty stuff, the legal things. You need to make sure you've got a contract, you've got a letter of offer. You may want to include a pay scale of where you're going to pay them and whether that's going to move. There's a bunch of other documents that you want to include. And in Module 6, you can go have a look at all of our documents. Some of them cost thousands for us to get created. So you can take them, tweak them, make them your own, and you'll see the full checklist of what you need. But there's legal things that you want to tick off. Don't be scared by that. Don't be turned off because it sounds, scary and too professional. You just got to grab that stuff, set it up, and fill in the blanks, and you are away. So contracts and all that jazz is important. Next, payroll and taxes. Again, another thing that seems a bit daunting if you've never done it before, but you need to investigate in your area, your state, your country, what are the rules around payroll and taxes? How do you process it? And there's always services that you can jump on for very cheap, and they'll do all the grunt work for you. You just got to get onboarded by a company, and they will help you walk through that process. Pardon me. So you got to make sure that you have covered your bases, that you are paying every dollar you need to pay, and not a dollar more, because you don't want to get in trouble for not paying taxes. Next thing that we need, of course, is to, I can't even read that upside back to front, finding teachers. So now you've got someone, you've got all the other things lined up. You need to find some teachers. So where do you find them? We had about 5 or 6 main methods that we would use to find teachers, and those are the methods we still use to this day. And actually in Module 6 there's a whole section on how to find teachers and some of those strategies that we used, and some are a lot better than others. Some work better in different seasons, but those are the strategies we still use to this day. And in our BAM squad, our Build a Music School community, we load in everyone else's ideas as they come up with them, and so you can always see an updated list of ideas of where to find the best teachers in your area. So obviously you've got to find them to be able to hire them. Next thing, once you've found some, is you need to go through the interview process. Now, depending how long you want that process to be, you're going to have a few different elements. So our process, the more professional we got, the longer the hiring process became, because something you need to know early on, and you may ignore me as I say this, but I hope you listen, is to hire slow and fire fast. Okay, I'll just say it again. You got to hire slow and fire fast, because firing someone is just one of the worst things to go through. It's horrible. It can be really emotionally draining, and so if you can hire slowly to make sure that person is not a nutcase, you're going to be much better off. And so in the hiring process, a couple things you definitely want to do is you want to make sure you do a little phone screen. So as you get an application, you hear from someone, say, hey, can I just give you a quick call for a few minutes? And that's the initial call where you're trying to sort of get a vibe for what they like. Are they friendly? What are they actually looking for at the moment? And you're trying to prevent yourself from wasting a whole bunch of time. Are there any big red flags that you can pick up just from a short phone call? That's going to save you waiting for someone to come in for 30, 40 minutes for a face-to-face interview. So if you're on that call and you're like, man, this person has more red flags than a Chinese embassy, and you say, hey, thanks so much for your time. I'll give you a call if I want to proceed, and move on. Okay, so that is something that you want to do. And obviously the interview, again, Module 6 in that free trial, take a look at all our interview stuff that you can go through, templates. It'll help you hire someone, and ask the right questions that'll prevent you as much as possible having the crazy kooky ones get through the gaps. Some of them still do, but anything you can do to prevent them as much as possible, the better. Okay, we are up to number 7, and that is training and curriculum. So once you've found someone, how are you going to train them? What's the sort of onboarding process? Are you just going to assume they're good enough to teach and just let them do their thing? I highly recommend you don't do that. We want to have some sort of onboarding process where we bring them into our studio, they understand our vision, our values, our culture, and we want to show them the way that we kind of teach, and we still want to give them freedom how to teach, but we want to show them some of the stuff that really matters and make sure that they are fully equipped to do a great job with every student, because of course they're representing your studio, your brand, and you personally. So one thing that you can make sure, two things actually that you want to grab access to. If you go into the library and grab in module 4, there is all of the workbooks that we created for our most beginner students. There's probably 30 plus books that each cost $3,000 to $4,000 to build, and there is beginner to intermediate stuff that you can personalize and use as your own. So you've got a great curriculum library to start with, and then you add everything else that you've got, and now you've got something really professional. You've got a pool of stuff that your teachers can work from as they progress students and insert their own bits and pieces along the way as well. So that's something you can check out. Also in module 5, you can check out our Teaching Matters program. This is what we use to train all of our teachers, because most people just teach the way that they were taught, and that actually leads to a lot of painful mistakes, and we want to actually learn the whole science behind teaching, how it works, not in an exhaustive kind of boring lecture style, but we built a program for every teacher in our studio to go through, and it gives them the workbook, the training videos, and we would actually make people go through the whole program and pay them upon completion for doing so. So it means that people going through getting trained into our school, we weren't wasting a whole lot of time and money if they bailed halfway through, because we'd pay for that training on the completion of the program. I talk more in detail about that on the inside when you go check out the program, so check that out. Next thing that you want to have is ongoing support. You don't just train someone once, obviously, and just leave them to it forever. You need to have a bit of a plan of how you're going to keep that training going, keep the inspiration going, so they continue to do a great job and they continue to get better, and not just assume that they are absolute legends who need no training or support in any way. So a few things that we developed through our school was observations. So teaching observations, and in Module 6 you can grab the template and training on that. And that's something you can simply use and ask you all the questions of how the lesson went, and you can write notes and discuss it afterwards. And so you might do that every 6 months or every year. You definitely want to do it when you're inducting a new person within the first couple of weeks. Let them settle in and then do a little observation, give some feedback, and set that tone early that this is a place where we care about being better, getting better, and being open to feedback, being humble. Okay? So that is one thing you want to have, some sort of observations. You want to have little check-ins as well. So we would do like daily team check-ins. For you, you could just do that. It's just, hey, arrive 5 minutes beforehand. Let's have a quick chat, or 10 minutes beforehand. We did 15-minute meetings beforehand, whole team in, getting excited, pumped for the day. Here's the notices. Here's an inspirational thought. Sometimes it's like, hey, here's a challenge we went through yesterday. How would you handle this better today, etc. So the daily stuff. Another thing that you can check out is actually really cool in Module 6 there, and I'm saying Module 6 a lot because that's all about building rock star teams. You want a rock star team around you. You don't want an average team, otherwise you will get an average sleep for the rest of your life. So in Module 6 there's even this cool section about why kind of staff presents and little gifts are important, and a whole bunch of ideas. And so there's all sorts of cool creative ideas and photos of things that we did and the rest of our BAM squad have done, so you can get some cool ideas there. So you may even want to load in your calendar, hey, this person started on this date, and so I want to do a little present for them in 3 months time or 6 months time, because that can go a long way. So some presents will take you further than some pay rises a lot of the time. Let's keep moving. We're up to number 9. and that is marketing. Well, once you've got a team, and it could be a team, could be one person, they're going to need students, right? And so you need to have a killer marketing strategy to keep filling up their timetable and keep the money flowing in, so they've got students to teach and they feel happy, and it's a real win-win. So in Module 5, for a change, you can check out our whole marketing module, where you'll see just hundreds of ideas, assets, ad campaigns, strategies, behind the scenes footage, everything on how we grew from 0 to 2,000 students. That's going to help you grow. So you want to make sure you got a great little marketing strategy. How are you getting students in, not just for yourself, but for your first teacher and all the teachers beyond that as well. Final thing is you need to grow them as a person. So we've talked about the training, the curriculum, the ongoing support, etc. But the next step, which is the final step, why I left it for number 10, is thinking like a boss now, and thinking like a leader. One of the biggest important jobs for you to do as you become a boss and a leader is to create more leaders. And so you need to think about each person individually and understand, like, what do they need to do to take their skills and leadership to the next level. And you always want to be thinking about, what opportunities can I give them? How can I push this person a little bit further so that they are developing their skills, getting pushed out of their comfort zone a bit, and developing? Because the more that you don't just treat people like someone that's going to come in and teach and you're going to clip the ticket, the more you move away from that and think of them as a person to really develop, like you develop a student, the more wildly successful your music school is going to be, because you're going to see people that are going to be able to take on extra little responsibilities that's going to grow your business, and they're going to love it because they're going to be doing teaching, but they're going to get some other experiences. And as your team grows, you can give them lots of different things that are going to really grow your business. So think about each individual person, where they're at, how do you grow them as a leader? And again, there's loads of different resources in Module 6 for that as well. Actually, grab the one that says Leadership Resource for your team. That's where we start, and it's a whole awesome thing. It's a whole book with all these workshop questions and something that you can take them through as a starting point. So there we go. There are 10 things for you to think about. Hiring your first team member. Don't get overwhelmed. It's an amazing thing to do, and I encourage you to chase after it and reach out if you need any support in any way. So I mentioned heaps of different resources. Grab a free trial down below. You got 7 days. Go into our library, take a look at everything. Hopefully you'll stick around, see the value that's in there. But if not, take what you need and feel free to move on. No cancellation fees, etc. Awesome. Hope that helps. Remember, you can ask me a question anytime. Comment down below. Send us an email at support@buildamusicschool.com, and we really appreciate a thumbs up or a like on this video as well. And be sure to subscribe, of course. See you in the next video.